Okay, and then we'll go live on Facebook. Oh, scary. Let me see. Oh, crap. Hold on a sec. Okay, we're resuming recording.
Awesome.
All right, Ruby's coming in now. All right. Let's see. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. I'm Elizabeth with All American Home Source Realty, and we have Tara with me, and Ruby is somewhere coming on. And then we also have Emily and Bethany with us. So I'm going to start sharing now that we've got everybody on and we're good to go. I'm going to start sharing everybody here. My screen. Let's see. Trying to find where the presentation went. Had it here. Let's see. Had closed all my windows and now we're there. All right. Hold on 1 second so I can start sharing. All right, so here we are. We're going to welcome Emily, and she is with Lancaster and Bay Insurance Agency, and she is going to be talking to us today about homeowners insurance and all the other fun insurances that go with it. So, Emily, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit?
Sure. So as Beth said, I am an insurance agent with Lancaster and Bay Insurance Agency. I have been in the business for 10 years. Our agency is an independent, family-owned and operated business here in Corpus Christi, and we have been open since 1945, so we are 75 years this year.
Cool. Oh. All right. So we do have some of the top 5 frequently asked questions. So we will go ahead. I'll kind of go through, ask them, and then you can go through and answer them. So I think one of the first questions would be, what is homeowners insurance and what does it cover?
So homeowners insurance is a package policy that covers certain things, your home, your personal property, loss of use, you have liability, there's, a lot of different coverages in that policy. And, it depends on, what you have included in your policy as far as endorsements and exclusions. There's a lot of different things that are going into your homeowner's policy.
Okay. All right. So for the Corpus Christi area, what insurance do you need when you're
in the Corpus Christi area, you need your homeowner's policy or dwelling fire policy. You need windstorm insurance and then flood insurance if you are in a hazardous flood zone.
Okay. Could you explain a little bit about each of those and what kind of the differences are?
Right. So your homeowner's policy covers things such as fire, lightning, smoke explosion, riot, civil commotion in aircraft and land vehicles. And then you have your windstorm and hail policy that covers windstorm-related events like hurricanes, rain damage, wind damage, hail damage. And then, of course, you have your flood insurance policy that covers surge and rising water.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Does my policy cover actual cash value or replacement cost?
So first things first, you need to understand the difference between actual cash value and replacement cost. Replacement cost is going to give you the replacement value for your property. So whether that be a home or the contents inside of your home, it's going to cover, at today's cost. You're going to get more bang for your buck that way. Actual cash value takes into account age and depreciation at the time of loss. So typically you might not get as much if you with an actual cash value policy versus a replacement cost policy, but they're not bad. actual cash value policy is fine. Some people prefer that because sometimes it can be less expensive, but it just depends on personal preference.
Okay. Yeah, and actually I was just going to ask that, is one going to be less expensive than the other one?
Sometimes it can be, but it also depends on a lot of different factors, whether you're eligible for replacement costs, you know, what the age of the home is, you know, other certain things that, you know, relate to the home.
Okay, cool. All right, let's see. Next, will it cost less to insure a newer home compared to an older home? And I figure this is a really good question for the Corpus Christi area because we have so much new construction in the area. So.
Right, and you're totally right. So yes, it usually is less expensive to cover a newer home, and the only real reason is because there's usually a discount for newer homes. It can be as much as a 25% discount for newer homes. It really just depends on the company. And as an independent agent, you know, we have the ability to search for, you know, the best policy. We have multiple different companies that we, you know, write through. So usually it is less expensive to insure a newer home. It's not saying that older homes are harder to insure or anything, but the newer homes do have a lot more discounts that help, you know, the premium. So.
Okay. And with trying to save money, what is the easiest way to reduce my monthly premium?
So there are a lot of different things that you can do, one of which is to call me to get your insurance. Yeah. So there's, you know, as an independent agent, again, we have so many different companies that we can write through. So that's the best way, is to just get, you know, different quotes from different agents, or call me and get quotes from me. There's different discounts that you can, you know, have. You know, you've got your bundle discount for your auto insurance. You've got your monitored alarm discount. Again, the new home discount. There's a lot of different things that can help reduce your premium. You can also have your insurance agent tailor the policy to you, and instead of insuring for things that you might not necessarily need, so you can, you know, reduce some things or add some things and try to make it as, you know, unique to you as possible. And then also deductibles play a big, you know, big role in the premium difference. So for instance, if you have a lower deductible, your premium is going to be higher than if you had a higher deductible. But again, that's total personal preference, and it's up to you as the insured whether you want to have a higher deductible or not.
Okay, cool. All right, so I'm gonna stop sharing, and I know we had a couple other questions that come up. So I think Tara and Ruby both had some questions. I don't know if you guys want to start asking, Emily.
Well, I think you kind of covered this a little bit, but as far as like the different policies go, but am I covered no matter how my home is damaged?
This one is my favorite question because I get this question a lot. What am I covered for? What am I not covered for? And the whole thing is in your insurance policy, actually. So you get a policy jacket like this in the mail with your declaration page, and it lays out everything that's covered, everything that's excluded. It has the legal definitions of the coverages, and it's a very valuable packet that you should read over. So the answer to your question is no, not everything will be covered. There are so many different types of coverages out there that can be included in your policy and excluded. But you have your main basic covered perils, which are fire, lightning, smoke explosion, right civil commotion, aircraft and land vehicle. And then of course you have your windstorm and hail. Sometimes windstorm and hail is included in your homeowner's policy as like, you know, combined policy. Sometimes it's not. But again, you just need to talk to your agent and ask what exactly is covered and not covered. And then there's also endorsements that you can add to add certain coverages that might not necessarily be included automatically. So always ask your agent.
Hopefully that's where Bethany's home warranty would come in.
Yeah.
Maybe, it just might. Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Ruby.
My turn? Okay, so am I fully covered if someone is injured in my home?
So that's another one of my favorite questions. The only way to know whether you are fully protected against liability is by talking to your agent and establishing what liability exposures you have. Everybody has different liability exposures, whether you have a home office or the amount of coverage you have on your home, the amount of assets you have. It all just depends on your liability exposure. So the best thing to do is to talk to your agent or your soon-to-be agent, which is hopefully me, about your liability exposures, and then from there you go on to that. So yeah.
Are all of your home insurance policies basically the same?
No, they're not. So again, as an independent agent, we have the ability to place you with so many different homeowners insurance forms, anywhere from a basic homeowners policy to a homeowners policy, including replacement costs, an HOA plus, which is additional, perils included. We have, so many different forms, and the only way that you're going to know what you're being covered for is if you talk to your agent. So I know I keep saying that, but that is the best way. And then also, once you do have your insurance policy, if you're just getting quoted, is to read over your policy jacket, because everything you need to know and want to know is in this guide. So yeah.
Perfect.
How much is the personal property in my home worth in the event of a total loss?
So the only way to know, how much personal property you have is to go through your home and document what you have. I don't know exactly what you have because, I have never been in your home. I have never assessed your home. So the best way to ensure what you have for what it's worth is to keep a detailed log of what it is that you do have. Everybody's different. Some people might have, 100,000 in personal property, and some might only have 25,000. And it's, everybody's different. And the best way to, figure that out is to talk with your agent, figure out how much personal property you have, what you want covered. If there's anything that you have that, if you have a lot of furs, watches, jewelry, you need to talk to your agent about that, because that's something that we need to know.
Assuming, following up on that question, assuming you need some sort of proof of the personal property, photos, receipts, what qualifies as proof?
Right, so receipts, photographs, any type of proof of purchase, just valuation, because even when you know what you have, it's important, because if you have a loss and you don't have any way to prove what you had, it's easy to have receipts or some type of log of the things that you have in your home. And then also it's very important that you keep a log of that not at home, because if you have a total loss in your home, that part could be gone. Keep it on an e-file somewhere, or store it in your safety deposit box. I don't know if anybody has those anymore, but if you have a safety deposit box, that's a perfect place to keep flash drive of everything that you have and pictures of everything that you have.
Good info. Thank you.
Yeah.
Well,
Can I? Oh, go ahead.
yeah, go ahead, Bethany.
Just listening. I have my own question. So I believe we just have 80,000, 90,000 on our policy for personal property. If it is a total loss, a big hurricane comes and flattens my house.
Right.
Will they just automatically give me the 90,000 because that's what I was insured for, or will I still have to give them a log showing this was all in the house and it wasn't a vacant house at the time?
Right. So it depends on your insurance company.
Okay.
And then how much you get, it really depends on, the type of loss it was. If it was a total loss, then you would take your personal property minus your deductible. And then, also if you had replacement costs or actual cash value, depends. But that's always a good thing to ask your agent to see if you have replacement costs on your contents or actual cash value, because you could have ACV and then it's a whole different thing. So, very good to have replacement costs, but it's not a make it or break it type thing. So, yeah.
I think we're all going to be looking at our personal.
Call your agent. Me. Just kidding.
Yeah.
Well, actually, you are my agent for taxes.
That's true. That's very true.
Yay. Well, so I just came up with another question that I'm sure a lot of people would probably have is, so when you're moving from one house to another, how does insurance work for your, say, your personal property? You know, I've sadly heard before where people have everything stolen out of a U-Haul truck or something like that.
Right. So it always depends how far your move is. So if you're moving, you know, far away out of state lines, it's a little different. Sometimes insurance companies have a extension of personal property on your policy, but usually it's only a percentage. Best thing to do is ask your agent, because every policy is different. Everything covers different things. And then if it doesn't cover for some reason, then you can always ask for a floater to get that personal property covered. But yeah, that's a very good question, because you do need to contact your agent if you're moving in the event that happens. So yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
You're welcome.
All right. I'm going to check you guys. If anybody else has questions, go ahead and ask. Otherwise, I was going to look real fast just to see. I don't know if I can see. I was going to see if there was any questions on Facebook, but I can't seem to see. So never mind.
On our page.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, I know we'll be able to see afterwards too. And so then maybe, if anybody asks questions, either Emily or Bethany can jump on and answer those as well on Facebook. So
I'll look and see if I see anything.
Okay, cool. All right. So I think that was all for the questions. Emily, is there anything that you can think of that wasn't asked that people should be aware of or think of when they are getting insurance?
I think the biggest thing that I hear is deductibles. I think deductibles is a big topic. Not a lot of people realize that they're getting quoted higher deductibles, and they don't know that, the higher the deductible, not only the more of it, is taken out of your claims check, but that can cause a lot of issues down the line. So always check your deductibles, look at your declaration page, which is, the first page of your insurance policy that has all the limits, and make sure that you can afford that deductible, because it is important and it does happen. And the last minute you might, have a loss and you didn't realize that you do have a high deductible. So it's always important to make sure you can afford what you do have. So yeah.
When you're talking about deductibles, I guess that brings up another question.
Right.
Normally there's 1%, 2%, and 3%. So obviously you need to make sure that when you're shopping for insurance, you're comparing apples to apples, because one might look a lot cheaper, but your deductible is a lot higher. But tell us about the deductibles. Is it 1% of the loss or 1% of the value, or what's the deductible pull from?
Thank you so much for asking that question, because I wouldn't have even thought of that. That is very true. You always need to make sure that you are comparing apples to apples. Your insurance policy, you might get quoted something over here that seems really, inexpensive, but in turn it has a 5% deductible, whereas this
I've seen that a lot.
quote might have a 1%, and you're like, well, this is a better deal, but in turn it's really not. But yes, so the deductible is a percentage of the dwelling coverage or the personal property, depending on what, it had a loss, and in cases both. So for instance, like $100,000 house with a 1% deductible would be $1,000, 2% would be $2,000, and so on and so forth. So obviously the more expensive the house, the higher the limit, even if it's like a 1%. So if you could have, a 1% for a $100,000 house and it only be $1,000, but you can have a 1% deductible for a $350,000 house and that be, $3,500 deductible. So, yep.
That makes sense. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Someone just ding. Is that someone coming on?
I think that was me. Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I was trying to figure out earlier how to get rid of all my notifications. Clearly, I failed at that.
That's okay. That's
Ah.
okay.
So, all right. So, do we have anything else that you can think of that you want to share?
Oh, here's a good one. So I've been having a lot of this lately. So whenever you purchase your insurance policy, be aware that there will be an inspection on your house, an insurance inspection. So usually a couple weeks after you purchase the insurance and you're in the house, an inspector will come and take pictures of the outside of the house to make sure that the house is in insurable condition. Do not tell them to go away, because if you tell them to go away, they're going to tell the insurance company, and then the insurance company is going to contact us and tell us, and then pursue underwriting action. So the best way is just to let them, take their pictures. You can ask for a card and call me and make sure that, this guy is who he says he is. But yeah, let him take the pictures. It's important. It establishes a baseline of what the property looks like. And then they do it every so often, every couple of years after that. So it is an important thing that needs to happen.
Good to know. I will not send them away.
Yeah, don't send them away. So I'm trying to think of anything else that.
Do you do auto insurance with your company, or is it just home?
Yeah. So we do auto insurance. We specialize in homeowners insurance, but we do auto, and there is discounts if you purchase your auto insurance policy with us, and then that's always helpful, especially since you want all your stuff in one location. But yeah, we specialize in homeowners insurance for a while now. But we do a lot of auto and commercial auto. So if you have a commercial business, that's it too. Yeah.
Good to know.
Yeah. Let's see. I don't know. I'm blanking on everything.
I think
You talked about a lot already, so.
I know. I feel like I could talk for years about insurance, but I've never done a live before, so bear with me. I'm a little bit nervous.
I guess one other question you could answer would be, say you bought a home for $300,000. Do you need the full $300,000 worth of coverage?
Thank you again. You're just asking all the good. See, what the
I had my
heck?
coffee this morning.
Thank you so much for asking that question, because I get this question so much and it drives me nuts. So, when you purchase a house, and I'm sure you guys know this because, it includes the land value. Insurance does not cover your land. It only covers, the home and whatever else it covers. It does not cover your land. So that automatically takes off however much the land costs, like right off the bat. So that's obviously going to be different from what, your loan amount is or the purchase price of the home. We run a replacement cost estimator that takes into account every stud, every nail, every window, door frame, door, you name it, it's in there. And we go off of that number. Now, again, it is just an estimate, so it can differ greatly. Sometimes we get an estimate in and it's like a little bit too low. We can work with that. There's wiggle room. If the lender requires it to be at a certain amount, we can definitely work with that. But we do have to work within the guidelines for the company. So if they're saying there's no way that this $300,000 house can be insured for $500,000, there's no way, then our hands are tied. But usually we can work around that, especially with that wiggle room with the replacement cost. So yeah.
And normally, even in a complete and total loss, you still have foundation left. That's a big cost too.
Right.
Assuming you don't have to include that value as well.
Right. Yep. That is very true.
Look at all these good questions.
I know.
You got more Sarah for? Sarah's on it this morning.
Right? Because it's not 8 a.m.
Yeah, you've had time to wake up. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if we think that is all for homeowners insurance, we can move on to talk to Bethany about our home warranties. And hold on a sec here. I'll share again.
And I'm sure stuff I will say might spark an idea for Emily. And
Yeah.
of course, she's still allowed to talk if she has something that comes up. But yeah.
No hanging up yet, Emily.
Yeah.
I know. I'm like, bye.
Hey, you gotta stick on.
Yeah.
All right, so let's welcome Bethany with Fidelity National Home Warranty. And Bethany, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your company.
Well, thank you so much for having me on this call.
Yeah.
I have been working for Fidelity for almost 8 years now. When I first moved to Texas, I did get my real estate license and then got this job opportunity. So I have a little bit of a background in both. And Fidelity is a Fortune 300 company. We are really big on the South and the West Coast. I don't know if you're listening from a different state. We don't cover the whole United States, but call me if you're interested after this call. Then we might insure your area. So yeah, but that's me.
Cool. Thank you for coming on. All right, so we'll start with the top 5 frequently asked questions for you. So since we just talked about homeowners insurance, what is the difference between a home warranty and homeowners insurance?
Great question. So think, the deductible for your homeowner's insurance is pretty expensive, right? It could be $1,000 to $4,000. I think my deductible is high. It's like $4,200. But your homeowner's insurance covers the full, could cover up to $350,000, $500,000, depending on how giant your house is. The home warranty service call fee, which is basically like a deductible, is $75. I think we don't have any limit on how much we'll spend on any one house for the year, but just looking at previous reports in Corpus Christi, I think the most we've ever spent fixing, something at a house is like $15,000 for the year. So, that's the major difference. A big deductible, but big coverage with your homeowner's insurance, small service call fee, probably less coverage, but still important coverage. Your mortgage company is going to require you to have homeowner's insurance because obviously they care about retaining that value of your home. If a hurricane comes, they technically own the house if you have a mortgage, not you. And so they want you to protect that investment. The home warranty covers the systems and appliances like your HVAC, that's kind of going into the next question, electrical, plumbing. So I don't know, I'll go right into that. Next question is what kind of things are covered with the home warranty? So, and you guys probably can't see that chart because the type is really small, but I tell people that it covers things where water, air, gas, or electricity run through it, or if it has an on-off switch. So, and it has to be things that break due to normal wear and tear. So your homeowner's insurance covers what might happen, right? You might have a fire, you might get robbed, you might have a hurricane flatten your house. Those are all things that hopefully don't happen, but that's why you have that protection. The home warranty covers what will happen, right? You eventually will have to get a new water heater if you stay in that house long enough. Water heaters don't last forever. So that's the major difference. So it's, windows are not covered. I get calls all the time. My windows are old. Can you replace all my windows? Well, no, not quite. It's just for systems and mechanical items, not structural items. So roofs, when they start deteriorating, if it's just normal deterioration, that's something the homeowner has to pay for out of pocket. Of course, if they have a hailstorm and that damages the roof, you'll call your homeowner's insurance agent, but the warranty just covers mechanical items. Yep. So
now, does it cover, like if you have just a small leak in your roof, would that be covered?
We do have a product on our Crest brochure, but that's too complicated of a question. I'm going to say
sorry.
No. It's better. Yeah. It's not that we like for $200 extra, you can add this limited roof leak option with some home warranty plans. But if you read the fine print, I never sell it because I feel like the fine print is just too exclusive. And if you actually have a leak, it's not going to be covered. So anyway, yeah.
All right. let's see. So you kind of already did number 2. What are some of the things covered? And if anybody wants a copy of this, we can certainly get it to you. And I'll post it on our Facebook page as well, just so people can see it better. All right. So what is the service trade call fee?
Okay, so basically if you have the home warranty and something breaks, your air conditioning just stops cooling your house, you'd call the home warranty and you have to pay $75 whenever a technician comes out to the house. So some home warranties, not Fidelity, they'll charge you the service call fee per malfunction. So if they come out and they say, well, your motor on your AC is broken and your condenser is broken, so we need a fee for both of those things because we're going to fix both of those things. Fidelity would just charge the one service call fee. If you have a plumbing issue, like a toilet stoppage and a garbage disposal issue, and the plumber sees both on the same trip, that's one service call fee. Now, if you have an electrical issue, like an outlet's not working, and then a plumbing issue, then each guy would get $75. Or girl, depending on who comes out. Yeah. So that's the service call fee. And that typically is all that is due from the homeowner. And then Fidelity pays for parts, labor, and taxes to repair or replace the item if we can't repair it. Okay. Some home warranties don't pay for labor, and we all know labor is actually the more expensive part usually, but we cover parts, labor, and taxes. So if there is something other than parts, labor, and taxes to repair or replace something, for instance, I live in a 1962 house and my garage door opener broke. And so Fidelity is covering the garage door opener that's on the ceiling and the labor, but there was not an outlet up there where that garage door opener was. It was like hardwired somewhere into the attic and went to who knows where. And the guy's like, well, we'll replace this, but we're not going to cover the cost of putting an outlet right there in your garage. So I had to pay, electrician came for like $80 or something and did it really quick and put an outlet there. So that was a non-covered cost.
Right.
So, but then Fidelity replaced the opener.
So I do have a question. So
yes.
when the person goes out for the service call, and I had this a few years ago with Fidelity, they're having HVAC issues, I guess. But y'all told him that it wasn't going to be covered because it was a pre-existing. Well, it's a new owner. How is it their fault? It's a pre-existing when they don't know anything about it, you know what I'm saying?
Right. That's a great question. So that is the number one thing. If you go to Better Business Bureau or anywhere and read about home warranties, homeowners might not be very happy with them, right? So, and the reason is because homeowners move in and they call in a claim and they just moved into the house and they try something for the first time and it's not working, right? Well, the home warranty automatically is going to say, well, if you just tried it for the first time and you just moved in, that's not covered because we cover items that are in good working condition at the time of closing. So we don't go out and actually do an inspection on everything. It's just, number one, if the homeowner tells us, I just moved in yesterday and I just tried it for the first time and it's not working, that's the red flag. Or if they make a claim soon after closing and our technician does actually go out and says something like, for instance, the water heater, it's rusted, corroding. They can tell it's been leaking for a while just because the mold that's grown up all around it. Like this didn't start leaking yesterday, right, when your coverage started. So things like that are not going to be covered by the home warranty. Now, we do cover unknown pre-existing conditions, but that one can be sticky and it depends on the situation. So for instance, we had one last week where the homeowner called in the AC claim. The AC was working for about a week, and then moving in, whatever, it broke down. Called the home warranty. Initially it was denied, but then the homeowner sent me a repair receipt from the seller who had fixed the items that were marked deficient on the inspection report, in which case then we said, okay, well then that's an unknown pre-existing condition. You did fix the items that were on the inspection report and it still pooped out. So we fixed it, right? So keep all repair receipts before closing. And if you're a buyer that's asking the seller to repair something, don't just take their word for it and close on the house without actually checking the item. I've even had it where they come up with a repair receipt and they give that to the buyer's agent, but nobody actually went to the house to re-inspect the item. And turns out either they didn't fix it at all and their brother just made up an invoice, or they did have like a relative or something come and duct tape the item. You know, it wasn't repaired correctly. So please do make sure that items are actually repaired correctly if you want the seller to repair it. That's just my 2 cents on that. Yeah. And one thing, and this happens too, we had a buyer call in. They call me usually first and say something like, can you come over and fix either my garage door opener or my AC? And they'll say, this is something we asked the seller to fix and they didn't. Can the home warranty come fix it? And then I have to tell them the bad news. Oh, sorry, that's not covered. And then they get mad at me, right? So
don't you love that?
Yeah. So
always your fault, Bethany.
yes. So it is, you know, kind of, we do cover a lot of things. You just have to know what's covered. Even when I bought my first house in, I was living in the Chicago area at the time, I got a home warranty at closing. Honestly, my realtor didn't give me any plans. They just gave me a company and gave me the coverage, whatever the seller had provided, fine. But in Illinois, your washer, dryer, and your refrigerator do convey with the house. And I moved in and the ice maker wasn't working. And to be honest, I'm pretty sure it never had worked in a long, long time, but I called in the claim anyway. And they told me, well, your refrigerator you didn't add that to your policy, number one. And then number two, it wouldn't be covered even if you did add it because it wasn't working prior to closing. And of course I got all mad and threw away the brochure and was like, what use is this home warranty? And here I am now selling home warranties. So anyway, it's just, you have to kind of have realistic expectations, because if we just covered everything that was broken when you moved into a house, then number one, we'd have to cost a lot more than we do. We'll get into the cost in a minute. And number two, then why would anybody get a home inspection, right? They would just buy a house and buy a home warranty and then call in 500 things to the home warranty after closing. So the cost.
But you can't do that.
I wish you could. I would sell a lot more warranties, I guess, if that was the type of product we were. Yeah, but so the cost starts at $405 for a single family house, cheaper for townhouses and condos. And then it goes up from there. You could spend over $1,000 on a warranty, and that is for the whole year. But the basic coverage, the 405, that's on the page on the right, it does cover the most expensive things that might break down. But I do recommend at least the Comprehensive Plus plan, which is $515. And that's for every house that's under 5,000 square feet. So unlike homeowners insurance, this is a lot more simple, because we just say everything under 5,000 square feet is the same price, because they generally have the same kind of, one water heater, maybe two, one air conditioning, maybe two, things like that. It doesn't change our cost to insure a 2,000 square foot house versus a 5,000 square foot house very much.
Yeah. Now let's say, because I've run into this before, where one house I was selling had it was attached to the garage. It was a separate room that was behind the garage. Now, how does that work for coverage?
Good question. So if there is no other way to get to what we call a guest house or a casita than exteriorly, if that's a word, you can't get to that living space. Yeah. You can't get to that living space from the main house, then that would be an additional cost, maybe $250. It depends, because you could pick the basic plan for the casita or the comprehensive plan. And if it's under 750 square feet, it's slightly cheaper than if it's over 750 square feet. But yes, that would be additional. So if it's just a workshop and all they have is like a window AC unit, probably don't bother. But if it's an actual living space with a bathroom and a water heater and a central air conditioning and all that, then yes, I would get the coverage.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see.
So playing off the question, what you were talking about as far as the home inspections, is it actually required for you to have a home inspection prior to closing on your house to get the warranty coverage, or is that just helpful when you're going to file a claim?
It is not required. It is just helpful if you're going to file a claim soon after closing. Now, anything that happens, a month or more after closing, typically it's covered, no questions asked. But if you have the home inspection and you make a claim soon after closing, then it does help sometimes to get something covered. But we do cover a lot of things, you know, after closing, even a couple days or the day after closing, but it kind of just depends on, like, your air conditioning, for example. If it's, if our technician goes out there the day after closing and they say the air handler has to be replaced, the condenser unit has to be replaced, which is the outside unit, and the whole thing's rusty, and the thermostat, like all components need to be replaced. Probably they didn't all die since yesterday, right? But if they go out there and just the motor pooped out, that's something that, yeah, that could have just died since coverage started. So that would be covered. So yeah.
But having the inspection in hand saying it was working prior to closing does
definitely, yeah, it's good.
Okay.
Yeah, highly recommended.
Yeah.
And don't just, yeah, and I get people saying, well, their dad is a handyman, so they didn't get an actual inspector out there. They just had their dad come look at everything. And doesn't that count? And not quite.
I know. I love those. I get
Yeah.
so many of those where, oh, well, I'll just have my family member come look at that. Well, that's not going to help you very much later.
Right. Yeah. There's a reason these people need licenses and have to renew and do continuing education every year. Yeah.
Same for our job, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. There. The next question, or I can.
Yeah. Was there another question that you had listed, Beth?
Yeah, let me see.
I
On
just
here.
asked my own.
Yeah. Well, oh, actually, that was one. I think that was a question we were supposed to ask. Somebody had asked about. Let's see. I think you've covered. Oh, how long will my home be under warranty?
So we sell it in 1 year increments, so 360 days, and then the home warranty will mail you and email you and let you know, hey, your warranty's up, and you can renew it. It doesn't automatically renew like your homeowner's insurance usually does when you have a mortgage on the house, because that mortgage company makes sure that they pay out of your escrow account, usually to the homeowner's insurance. So the homeowner does have to call and actually renew. And even your car insurance usually automatically just renews if you're on like an auto payment plan. But home warranties usually don't have like automatic payment plans. So you do have to renew. And there typically is a renewal fee from the first year. So the seller usually pays for the first year. They don't have to. Everything's negotiable, right? And anybody can get a home warranty even on the house that they're currently living in. So that's another good point. You don't have to be buying a house to get a home warranty. But after the first year, the price does usually go up by about $100. And that's because the incident rate for claims is usually twice as high after the first year. The first year you get inspections done, you ask the seller to fix a bunch of things, and there's usually less claims. So, but it doesn't keep going up by $100 every single year, because then after 3 years, the price would be, you know, ginormous. But just there's first year pricing and then second year going forward pricing.
So I guess that brings up the question, new construction home warranty.
I was just gonna ask.
Yay! Good question.
Yeah.
Is longer coverage, and is it, you know, recommended to have a home warranty for your new construction house?
Yes. So we actually have a new construction home product, and it covers years 2, 3, 4, and 5. So that's 4 years of coverage. That starts 1 year from the close of escrow, and it's $595, and it's much cheaper because our normal plan is like $405, right, for 1 year. So this is 4 years of coverage for $595, and it's because obviously a new house, less things are less likely to break. New things are less likely to break. So the first year, usually the manufacturer's warranty or the builder's warranty covers anything that might go wrong in the first year, and then Fidelity's warranty would kick in years 2, 3, 4, and 5. And studies have shown that they usually do make 2 claims in that 4-year period on a new construction house. So it will save them money usually.
And it's really good for resale. I've just had that happen a bunch where, you know, we've talked about it, transferring the home warranty into the new buyer's name when there's a few years left after someone is selling it, you know, after year 3 or whatever, you have a couple of years left. That's helpful as far as the selling point on your house. And
you do have to get it when you close on the new house. You can't wait to, you know, a year from then to get it. So, yeah.
Yeah, everything has to be done within 30 days, right? If you want to, like, let's say you want to add something on to the policy, whatever.
Right. Yes, within 30 days and before the item breaks.
Yeah.
Can't like have your fridge break and then add it on,
Yeah. Well, actually, and that's one good question. So let's say it's not, you've already lived in the house and you want to get a warranty. Is there a time frame of when the warranty kicks in, or does it kick in right away?
Great question. So typically there's a 30-day wait, kind of like flood insurance. Everybody can't run to their homeowner's insurance agent like Emily and say, oh, there's a hurricane coming, I need flood insurance now.
Right.
There's always a 30-day wait to prevent that specific thing from happening. So warranties for people that are already living in the house don't usually insure the next day, right? Because otherwise people will have either air conditionings break and then they'll say, dang, let me get a home warranty, and then call in the air conditioning claim tomorrow, right? However, Fidelity is currently offering a promotion till the end of June where existing homeowners can get a Fidelity National Home Warranty on their current house and will waive that 30-day wait. So, I mean, the same rules apply in that the items have to be in good working order at the time that you get the warranty. But if anybody is interested, let me know, because we're waiving that 30-day wait currently.
Well, that's good enough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Ruby, did you have some more questions, I think?
Yes. How quickly can repairs get done or be done?
Great question. So home warranties are not a concierge service. So typically, in a slow season, not August in South Texas, like say it's April in South Texas, the air conditioning guy could come the next day, sometimes even the same day. But during the busy season, when of course you want that air conditioning fixed a lot sooner because it's 100 degrees out in South Texas, it might take the AC guy 2 or 3 days to get over to your house. What happens is you call in the claim. That business, the technician that we assign it to, has 48 hours to contact the homeowner to set the appointment, 48 business hours. So if you call in a claim on Friday night at 7 p.m. on Labor Day weekend, then you might not hear from that technician until Tuesday coming up, right after the holidays. And then he might set that appointment for Wednesday. So, just be aware of that. You're getting the home warranty to save money, not for immediate service. So just like with your car insurance, if you get in a car wreck, it would always be faster to just drive to Mercedes and buy yourself a new car, right? Than calling the insurance company, getting an adjuster out there, taking it to their approved collision expert or whatever, you know what I mean? So even with medical insurance, everything, if you're trying to save money through an insurance type product, it takes a little bit more of a process than just going and paying cash, right? But that's why you have that risk management product to save you money. My garbage disposal broke on Thanksgiving last year, and I had about 40 people. Yeah, I was doing dishes, and somebody at my party was just like scraping the plates into the sink, I think, instead of in the trash. But either way, so it got all clogged up. And it's 6:30 at night, and I've got all these people in my house, and I did not want to sit there with them not being able to do dishes. So that would have been covered by the home warranty, but I didn't want to wait. What happens if it's an emergency is you call the home warranty, they send out a notification. I don't know if it's an email or fax or something to all of the technicians, and they say, who can take this call the quickest? Whoever can jump on it and take it the quickest gets that work order. So I could have called Fidelity and just seen if maybe they could have gotten somebody on Thanksgiving night. Probably they would not have. So I just called Roto-Rooter, and they came, and it was $125. They were there within 45 minutes and had it unclogged. But I knew that my service call fee was $75. So really I only paid $50 extra to get that problem fixed that second, right? Now, if it was a water heater claim and I would have saved like $1,800 if I waited, then I probably would have waited, right?
Yeah.
But so kind of you just have to weigh the economics of everything, right? Your AC, if you might be saving $6,000 with us replacing your whole system, so it might be worth it to stay at a friend's house for a week to save $6,000, right? So, yeah.
So I guess that brings a good point at you have an AC that breaks and you don't want to wait, and you call your own company, and then you try to submit your receipt to the home warranty company. Tell us how you'll get a fat no on that one.
Yeah, great question. And we don't do that just because we want to be mean. The reason that you have to call the warranty and get the work done through the warranty is because our technicians have an agreement with Fidelity where they work for us at a discount in exchange for free business, right? Because they don't have to advertise to get these work orders. They're going to work at a cheaper rate. If they normally charge Joe Schmo homeowner $100 an hour, they'll only charge Fidelity $75 an hour. Also, we get our equipment at wholesale prices, right? We're almost a nationwide company. We buy hundreds of thousands of appliances every year. So we have the purchasing power to get very cheap units of washer, dryers, whatever. Even the local HVAC guy can't get our same price that we would get on a HVAC condenser. So people are like, well, why can't the HVAC guy just go get the condenser today and put that in right now? Well, because Fidelity has to order it because we get a better price. Now, one thing they can do if they really just want to, get something done fixed, but get some coverage, is they can ask for the cash in lieu of repair. So after our guy goes and diagnoses whatever is wrong with the system or appliance, the homeowner can say, well, what would the cash out be if I just took the money that you would have spent repairing or replacing whatever the item is? And then they can take that money and go with whoever they want. And that way they're kind of still saving money, but the cash that we offer them will be what we would have paid. And like I said, we get wholesale cost. So it might be less than what they see that same appliance for at Lowe's.
I actually have experience with doing that. And it worked out pretty well, getting the cash. And then I kind of upgraded my appliance at that point because I wasn't going to get the same that I had. It was going to be, the kind of wholesale-ish cost. So I was able to get a better appliance with that cash out value, which was nice.
Yeah. Well, and that brings me to the other reason we don't just reimburse when the homeowner sends us a receipt for a new appliance, because, for instance, somebody sent me a receipt for a new dishwasher. Oh, my dishwasher broke. Please reimburse me for my new stainless steel Bosch dishwasher. That's, $10,000.
Right.
Number one, our guy didn't get to come out and see if your old dishwasher was a fancy dishwasher or just your regular dishwasher. And our guy didn't get to go out and try to repair it because maybe he could have repaired it instead of having it to be replaced. Maybe that homeowner, maybe it didn't even break at all. And that homeowner just wanted to remodel the kitchen and bought a new dishwasher, right? So that's why our people have to go out and look at the items. But I know my home warranty has saved me over $6,000 in the past 3 years. I've had it on my house for a while. It's fixed my pool pump. You can add on septic tank, well pump, outdoor kitchen option now. We have that option. We even have an option, this is probably not politically correct, but I call it the single lady option, which is if you have a faucet or a ceiling fan or some fixture that you don't currently like, but it's working fine, but it's just ugly, and the homeowner goes to Lowe's and buys a new ceiling fan that they think is nicer, they can call the home warranty and we'll go and replace it for the $75 service call fee. But that way they don't have to look through the phone book and find someone to install their ceiling fan.
It's a good option, especially if your husband is very busy.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, it doesn't have to be a single lady option. It could be just a busy husband option. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So as far as like filing a claim, how does that work?
So something at your house breaks, you can file a claim two ways. You can go to Fidelity's website and click request service, and you might have to register as a new homeowner and then request service, but either way, and do it online. Or you can call our 800 number, which is, for claims to request service, and they'll just need your address. And they usually do collect the $75 before they'll dispatch a technician. So just be ready for that. And that money is due whether it's denied or covered. Most of the time it's covered. But
now, do you guys because I've had sometimes where like you guys will ask for it, but then other times it seems like I've had people where they pay directly to whoever
right
out. Like, is there a preferred way of doing that, or does it matter?
Well, Fidelity will really try to collect the service call fee when you make the claim or as soon as possible, just because in previous years, that was like the number one loss thing where just nobody wanted to pay their service call fees, right? If I get involved, then I can tell somebody at corporate, like have them pay the technician directly, or for property management purposes, sometimes we'll bill the landlord. So if you know anybody with multiple properties, they do get a discount if they have 5 or more properties covered with Fidelity, and we could always bill somebody for the service call fee if we need to, if that's how they prefer to do that. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Let's see. What are optional coverages and how do clients know if they have them or not?
All right. So this is our new brochure, and you can't really read it, and I think it's backwards anyway. But we have like 15 new options that you can add. And I talked about some of them already, just like the home improvement or the single lady option and the pool option you could add on. The pool is pool equipment, just so everybody knows. It's not the pool itself. So it would cover the filter, the motor, the pump, the heater if there's a heater, but it doesn't cover if the pool starts leaking and you need to remodel your whole pool, right? So just things with an on-off switch, not structural, remember. The other one that kind of goes with homeowners insurance. So the home warranty would cover your water heater, your air conditioning, those types of things. Let's pretend your air conditioning is in the attic, right? And it leaks and messes up your ceiling, your sheetrock. So Fidelity would cover the air conditioning, but we would not cover the replacement of your sheetrock. So that would be your homeowner's insurance. The homeowner's insurance, it would have to make sense with your deductible, right? If you want to actually make a claim on your homeowner's insurance. But if you have to pay the deductible for a system that failed, that Fidelity covers the system, we have an option for only $30 where Fidelity will reimburse you up to $1,000 of your homeowner's insurance deductible. So at least there's a little bit of extra coverage, you know. I did have a situation where the dishwasher did something, leaked everywhere, ruined the wood floors. And so it was economical for them to make the homeowner's insurance claim to get that covered. And then since we covered the dishwasher, the, you know, and they had this option, it's just, you know, it's not automatic in all of our plans. You have to pay $30 extra for that. If you have that option, then Fidelity will reimburse up to $1,000 of the homeowner's insurance deductible.
That actually sounds
yay.
good because
Yeah.
when that happens, that's usually how it happens.
Right. Yep. So, but it
And
is
also-
one of, oh, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it's one of those things, you know, that you have to add though. So,
Yeah.
and most of the time, whenever I talk with buyers, they're usually just like, I'm only going to take whatever coverage the seller's going to pay for, right? And I don't want to go over that amount and things like that. So, as a real estate agent, I would just say, get their coverage preferences in writing. And so that would be like on this page, you can have them check the actual coverage that they agreed to so that they can't get mad at anybody when,
Yeah. They
you
call
know,
you don't have coverage.
yeah, right. I had one, they called in for a pool claim. Well, the pool wasn't added. And they're like, somebody said I had the pool coverage. And I'm like, I don't know what happened, but you don't have the pool coverage. And there was nothing else in writing saying you wanted the pool coverage, right? So anyway.
Same with washer and dryer and refrigerator. Everyone
Yeah,
always
those are big
assumes that
ones.
comes with it.
Yeah.
It does not. Those are all add-ons as well, unless you get the comprehensive plus, right?
Right. No, so we have 4 different levels of plans. So the washer, dryer, fridge starts being covered in the enhanced plan, which is $610 for the year. And then we now have an enhanced plan plus for $750 if you want to get really fancy. And that would cover the modifications such as that my example with the garage door opener and it not having the electrical outlet located there that it needed. That's a modification that's never usually covered. But now with our enhanced plus plan, we cover modifications.
I'll share this again. So
Yeah.
And Bethany, can I get some of these when you have a chance?
You bet. I can either drop them off at your house or mail them or meet you somewhere.
You had sent a PDF version, I believe, right?
Yes.
I have a copy of these.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
I don't have a PDF of the new one for some reason. I know I can go on the website usually and get it.
Okay. I'll send it.
If you could send it, that would be awesome. I could save it.
For sure. Yeah. So,
I'm just looking at these two. Everything kind of
Sorry.
cool that
one
it
thing
added
that,
more.
yeah, we did start offering is a rekeying for new buyers who move into a house. But it does cost the $75 service call fee. So
Okay, I was
sometimes
just
you
gonna ask that if it is.
yeah.
I figured it was.
Right. It's not free. I get calls all the time. Do you offer the free Rekey? No home warranty offers a free Rekey. Nothing in life is free. Yeah.
Right.
It's
So
free
it's 70
after the service call fee.
Right.
There
Yeah.
you go.
Exactly, yeah. But it is, before we offered that Rekey, I just would tell people, no, we don't offer it, but you can call Discount Locksmith in Corpus Christi. They charge $36 for Maine Corpus Christi. It might be a little bit more expensive if you live further away to come to the house, and plus $10.50 per door. So if you call them and it's cheaper than $75 to Rekey, obviously don't go through the home warranty. But I know when I moved into my house, I put those handles with the keypad on all my doors because I hate carrying keys, right? So that is something, the home warranty is not going to do that, right? They're not going to change out the whole handle. And those keypad handles are like over $100 usually. So just be aware of that. But we do offer it, and sometimes it does save the homeowner money to pay the $75, especially if they live like in Ingleside or Rockport or somewhere, further. And if they have a lot of doors, I guess. So,
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. If the 75 covers all the doors?
it covers up to 6 doors. So like it was like, if you only have a front door and a back door pretty much that you want rekeyed, then just call and go probably outside the warranty. But if you've got actually 6 doors that you want rekeyed, then it's cheaper to call the warranty and get it done through us. Yeah.
Okay.
Emily, I thought were going to say something.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. I just didn't want to interrupt you, and I was like, oh, I'll just wait. So one of the things you had mentioned was, with the air conditioner unit and the water damage, and you said that the insurance company will cover for the water damage in the sheetrock. So I just wanted to elaborate on that just a little bit. So accidental discharge of water is not always covered.
Yeah.
So there's different forms that you have with homeowners insurance. And not all of them are equal, and not all of them cover the same thing. So you always want to check and ask about the accidental discharge of water. And you mentioned the deductible as well, which is really good. Yes, there is always a deductible for any type of damage to your home, as long as it's covered. But one of the things is there could be a limit on that actual accidental discharge of water. So it could be a limited coverage. You always want to make sure you know how much coverage you have for the accidental discharge of water or water backup and sump discharge and overflow. So those are the things that, also work hand in hand with the home warranty company, because they cover some things and then we cover the damage from that if it's included in your policy. So, yeah.
So now,
Good
let's say with a, what would be covered by homeowners versus like flood? How do you know what the difference is?
Right, yes. So let's just assume that the windstorm is included in the homeowners, because sometimes it could be separate, but we'll just, for the sake of this video conference, we'll just say that it's included. So you have your homeowners and your windstorm in one policy. So if you have, let's just say, I hate making these things because I'm like, oh, please don't come true. But let's just say that there's a hurricane, whatever. There's a hurricane and it brings in, some nasty wind. You get some roof damage that, causes rain to come into the house and, damage the interior of your home. That's going to be covered, obviously, on the windstorm side. If there's rising water from outside coming inside, that's flood or storm surge. So especially with Hurricane Harvey, we saw a lot of storm surge in the Rockport area that caused a lot of damage to the homes. That is flood. It is not windstorm. Windstorm is literally windstorm-related events, hail-related events, and then rain-related events minus flood.
So if the hail damages your roof, which allows water to get in, and then floods your house, is that both?
So then they work together, the two adjusters work together. That actually happened a lot with Hurricane Harvey.
Yeah.
And they work together and they decide, what is what and how much is covered for this and how much is covered for that. And that's all the adjuster side. And you'll talk to your desk adjuster about that, and then, the on-site adjusters. But yeah, it could be two. It could be both.
If you don't have flood in that instance, is that You're kind of SOL on that?
You're
Or?
gonna SOL, yeah, flood insurance. So another thing is flood insurance isn't just for people in hazardous flood zones like flood zones A, AE. There's so many different, flood zones that are hazardous, but you can get insurance if you're not in a hazardous flood zone. But just because you're not in a hazardous flood zone doesn't mean your home can't flood. In fact, most of the claims we see for flood insurance are those people who aren't in hazardous flood zones, unless it's like, Hurricane Harvey and it's right in a flood zone. That's going to happen. But most people who have claims for flood are in regular zones. They didn't think their home could flood. There's been, massive rain events when the soil gets, saturated and water starts coming into the home, and they don't have flood insurance. In that case, your windstorm insurance is not going to cover rising water. Only flood insurance will. And it's usually written through the NFIP, and like Bethany had mentioned, there is a standard 30-day wait for some carriers, especially through the NFIP. They have the standard 30-day wait if you're not in a hazardous flood zone. But if you are in a hazardous flood zone, it's a lender requirement and it's right away. Yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna say, and I don't know if this is helpful to anybody on this call, but if your house is not in a hazardous flood zone and the lender does not require the flood insurance, it is not collected for at closing. Because when I bought this house, I said I want the flood insurance just because, even though I'm not in a hazardous flood zone,
Right.
and it's only like $400 for the year. But long story short, it wasn't added. And Hurricane Harvey hit right after I bought the dang house. And when I was up in San Antonio reviewing all my insurance documents, I was like, where is my flood declarations information, right? And I did not use you as my agent, so I should have used you. But, long story short, it wasn't collected for at closing. Even though I had gotten quotes on it and said I wanted it, it needs to be, it was separate and nobody collected from me, but part of it's my fault because I just thought it was paid at closing and it's not.
Right.
So
right.
Yeah.
That is very true.
As Emily says, make sure you read everything.
yes.
If you take any advice from this call, it's read your guideline, or not your guidelines, your policy docket, sorry.
Yeah.
Read your policy docket. I don't know if you can see this. There's so much jargon on here, but honestly, it's the best thing. There's so much on here. And you might read this and say, hey, I want to do insurance and become an insurance agent, and then call me.
I just love all of this.
Yeah, so great.
Cool. Well, let's try to wrap up here some. I know I had one more screen for Bethany.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna recap everything. Hold on a sec here. Let me share again. All right, there you go. So 3 important things to remember about home warranties.
Yes, so it's a 1-year service contract that helps offset repair or replacement costs. So whenever I talk to a homeowner too, I tell them, I don't know what you've been told, but we don't cover everything. Sometimes buyers are under the impression, I was told to call the home warranty if anything breaks at my house. No, okay, yeah, no, just like we've learned from Emily, nothing covers everything, right?
Right.
Number 2, it covers the systems and appliances in the home that become inoperative due to normal wear and tear. So for instance, if you have a glass cooktop and you drop a heavy cast iron skillet on it on accident and it cracks the cooktop, that's not covered by the home warranty. It has to be just normal wear and tear where you go to turn on the burner and it just doesn't turn on. That would be covered by the warranty. And so if you get along those same lines, if you have a pipe leak and it's out in the yard and not within the walls or foundation of the house, that's not covered unless you have our option for the external pipe leak option. So anyway, if you get termites that are in some pergola or in your deck somewhere, that's not covered. But if you get subterranean termites within the main frame of the house, that would be covered. That's a whole nother hour-long conversation. But anyway, number 3, the items must be correctly installed and functioning in proper, safe working condition on the effective date of the contract, which is when the home warranty starts, in order to be covered. So there's things that are working. Your AC could be blowing semi-cool air on the day of closing, but if it's all rusty and it's almost out of Freon, then maybe it's not quite in good working condition. And that's the key word. It has to be in like proper, safe working condition and not just kind of maybe
Not
working.
as rough.
Yeah. So anyway, and then you'll have coverage.
Cool. Well, awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. That was, I mean, I learned stuff, and I've been in the business for almost 18 years dealing with both ends all the time for clients. So, so hopefully, some of our viewers will get some questions answered that they had, and just kind of go into things with a little more education about it. So, so I'll share again Emily and Bethany's info really fast here.
Right, and that number's wrong.
Oh, is that? Oh, you know
yeah,
what?
I didn't want to say anything, but yes, it's 853-0405.
853.
361-853-0405. But email is everything now, so feel free to shoot me an email right there, Emily@lancasterandbay.com.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay.
You know what? I'm gonna have this so I can send it out to people. So I'll fix that before I
Okay,
send it
cool.
out.
Thanks.
Yeah. Sorry.
It's okay. It happens.
All right. And there, Bethany, is all your stuff right?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Cool.
And of course, if you have any other questions, anyone watching, you can always reach out to us as well, and we'll point you in the right direction.
Yeah, we're here. Ruby had to run to meet a client, but she was here with us.
Yes.
So,
Well, thanks for having us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, thank you so much. We appreciate you guys jumping on with us and, helping answer questions that people are going to have. So,
Yes, thank you.
all
Yeah,
right.
thank you a lot. I really appreciate the time and everything.
Yeah, well, thank you, Emily. And I know you were so nervous. You did great.
I know. I started to get a little bit more comfortable, but I've never done live before, so I was psyched out a little bit.
No one can see how much you're sweating.
Oh, I know. I have been a lot.
Well, thank you both, and everyone have a great weekend.
Yeah.
You too.
Everybody.
Thank you. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.